What is going on, IPA fans out there? Welcome back to another video of mine. I'm Mr. Josh, and I'll be bringing you my week 1 of season 8 of the IPA. I bet you would never hear those words, but guess what? We are back and better than ever. And let's just go over what happened last season really quick. I made playoffs after a precarious situation near the end with me and Max, which ironically is my first week. He's my week 1 opponent for IPAs this season, as well as the fact that he's in my division, which is really ironic because I'll explain real quick. He was my last opponent for season 7, and there was a situation where I could have missed playoffs pretty easily if I lost, but I think I was still in there was a good chance I was still in if I lost. But Max needed to win, aka I needed to lose to Max. And as much as I love the guy, I couldn't do that to him. So I went pretty hard. Long story short, I made a big misplay, and I costed him the game completely. And he missed playoffs despite having a pretty good record. I forget what it was, and that created a bit of controversy, and he didn't make playoffs. I ended up losing round 1 to Cole for questionable plays that I would give further explanation to, but that would cause controversy on its own, so I'm not going to get into it. But nonetheless, we lost to Cole. Cole lost to Jarrett. Jarrett made finals, and he won ultimately. So Jarrett was the season 7 champion. Good for him. I love the guy to death, so I can't really be mad. As we're going to move it on to the side. We're in season 8. We're trying our best to win, as always. After winning the our first season in the IPA ever, I've had a drive to win a second one. I really wanted to back-to-back, and I lost to Matt. We all know how that wins. Like, we're all just trying to get this done. So, without further ado, let's just get right into the team builder. Also, as you can see, I have the best girl as the background for my draft frontier. Those who watch the show will completely understand what I'm talking about. But let's just get right into the teams. I'm numero 6, he's numero 8. I got a team of Mega Medicham, Kartana, Hydreigon, Klefki, Volcarona, Mimikyu, Araquanid, Exploud, Mudsdale, and Grotto. It doesn't take much to tell that this team isn't the best, but it's not horrible. Like, I noticed immediately in prep that I can bring a good combination of Pokemon and probably have the same result in terms of what I have to do. And it's not ultimately easy either way. Like, I knew the way of winning this game was going to be pretty difficult, so I had that in mind going into this game. And there was definitely a misprep in my moveset that I definitely reconsidered after the game, and you'll see what I'm talking about real quick. As you can see, I got the actually, I went over my team. Let's go over his. He has Tapu-Koko, Lando-T, Necrozma, Decidueye, Kyurem, Mega Heracross, Keldeo, Salazzle, Steelix, and Dusclops. I don't like Keldeo in IPA because it gives me too bad of memories of Matt in the championship. And I just hate playing Keldeo in general. He also has Tapu-Koko, Lando-T, and with unlimited Z options, it's pretty threatening about which mon's going to have which. Not to mention Tapu-Koko is a pretty great Pokemon against my team because I think Mudsdale takes like 70% from non-specs Grass Knot, which is insane. So it's just just stuff like that. It just keeps me on my edge when I have to play a Koko. And he has stuff like Necrozma, which ultimately stops Mega Medicham on its tracks. Decidueye to stop High Jump Kick spam potentially. Mega Heracross just 6-0s my team. Like, I don't have a switch in for Pin Missile or Arm Thrust or Close Combat. And if you get to sub on my Mudsdale and I don't really ultimately break it because I don't get any good coverage to break it, unfortunately. Like, I could run Heavy Slam, but I couldn't fit it on my slot this week, and you'll see what I mean. Like, the Mudsdale set, it was a mess in terms of what I had to give it, and like I said, it really wasn't the best 4 moves I could have given it, and I'll explain why. I'm spoiling a bit too much, but I'm trying to keep this as concise as possible while giving my thought process. He also has like the Dusclops and the Steelix for a defensive backbone that are reasonably cheap. Not to mention the Necrozma. I think it's just a fantastic stop to my Mega Medicham. Before that, he had Mew instead of Lando-T, but he made a grace period trade. I forget who had Lando-T, and I'm not going to check. But he did get that, and I mean, I was kind of glad, but I was also kind of like, it sucks. I didn't have to play Lando-T, and now I have to. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, I knew the matchup was going to be pretty difficult. Like, I didn't think I had a great chance of winning on paper, but with the right sets, obviously anything is possible. So I went into it with that kind of mindset. I gave this team matchup to Hunter, Jarrett. I think, they both threw me ideas. I probably had a couple other ones, but ultimately cannot remember what they were. But let's just start off with the Hydreigon. It's a bulky set that just allows for me to take everything. Like, if he's not running any sort of, like, how to explain this? Okay, I can explain perfectly. So this is a great stop to Steelix. Like, if he leads it, I taunt it, and Heavy Slam does literally 0 to me, and I just recover up on it rather easily. And Dark Pulse is going to do decent damage. And not to mention, it's like a great stop to Lando-T if he's Rocks, because I could just taunt that. I'm faster than Rocks Lando-T, or whatever he would try to not speed, which would be my X-Plat, I would imagine. So I hit that type of speed tier, and if I can taunt it and he doesn't have Flying Z, and even if he does have Flying Z and he's like a bulkier rocker set, I could live potentially. It depends on how invested he is. And I do a decent chunk with Dark Pulse. And Draco Meteor is there because I can actually hit Pokemon with decent, like, there's Pokemon on his team that do not appreciate Draco Meteor, like Mega Heracross. If I can hit that thing with Draco Meteor, even if I'm not that invested, it still does a decent amount of damage. And plus Dark Pulse is pretty spammable. Like, Tapu Koko, if it takes rocks, it's going to take a decent chunk from Dark Pulse. Like, it's 3 killed easily. Like, and that's exactly what I want, right? For Tapu Koko to be chipped rather time. And as a result, my Hydreigon is just there to stick around for the long game. And if I can keep the Mega Heracross at bay, then it just makes my job easier. And there's really not much more to say. Like, I knew a bulky Hydreigon was the way to go, because offensive, when he has a Tapu Koko, for one, isn't the best. Not to mention, like, Keldeo, like, is a decent stop to Dark Pulse spam, and I expect Scarf, so that's also not the most fantastic thing. But obviously, if he does bring a Scarf, he has to consider his Pokemon in the back. Because if he ever locks himself in a Secret Sword, this gets to +1 and kind of wins. Because his team does not appreciate his Pokemon, as you can see on his roster. Tapu Koko dies at +1, Lando-T dies at +1, depending on the set. The Crossman needs to be Power Gem, but even if I get to +1, I mean, when I get to +1, not only do I have the +1 Spadef, but with the Charty Berry, I take 0, and it just becomes setup bait. The only way he would avoid that is if he got Rock's Chip on me, and he was physical Full-Time Geyser. And obviously that would ignore the +1, it would just kill me. But that's really the only exception. Like, Kyurem doesn't really stop Quiver Dancing, Volcarona, Decidueye dies, Heracross dies. This ultimately obviously could run Stone Edge, but with the Charty Berry I live and I get up to +2 against it, and then Giga Drain does a lot. Salazzle doesn't stop me, Steelix dies, Dusclops doesn't stop me. So ultimately this Pokemon is a humongous threat versus his team. So Keldeo, if he does lock himself in the Secret Sword, it just becomes a liability for him, and it can ultimately lose him the game. And I like having that type of, like, win con in the back. It's not special, type to do damage, rest in bulk, not much more to say. This is the set that made me thinking, like, I mean, okay, let me explain this. Rest was necessary. I needed recovery on this somehow because I wanted to switch in multiple times to Heracross if need be. But you might be thinking, oh, what do you do if you click sub? I don't do anything. I really thought I needed Toxic for the Landorus T, but ultimately, if you did bring setup, not only would this just be setup bait, but it would actually get up to +2/+2, and that would not be very fantastic. So ultimately, I think Roar was the better option instead of Toxic, and you'll ultimately see in the game what I mean. But yeah, it's just max HP, enough bulk to take on Heracross. And then I have a lot of Spadef. That's to take HP Ice from Tapu Koko. I think I take less than half from HP Ice if it's Life Orb Koko. And if he brings Grass Knot, there's not much I can do about that. It just 2 kills me no matter what. Like, I can't stop that. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. Like, Earthquake, because if I'm going to run an offensive move, I want something to destroy Koko, do some damage to Necrozma and Kyurem and Keldeo. You know, you get the point. It does a decent amount to Steelix too, even though I'm not invested. Next is Araquanid. It's a web set because if I can get webs up and outspeed a lot of stuff, then X-Cloud and fucking Kartana can go in, because obviously if it's Scarf Keldeo, then Kartana will now outspeed it under webs, which is really good because obviously Hydro Pump would probably kill me. I don't actually know the count, but Kartana is so bad, especially wise, that I would imagine Hydro Pump is sensory packing. So with webs up though, Keldeo just dies to Kartana, which is fantastic. And not to mention, if I get webs up, then X-Cloud can outspeed the majority of his team, which I would like, because X-Cloud was actually recommended by Hunter, because I think I had Klefki over this at first. But yeah, X-Cloud looks fantastic, and I definitely thought that the only way it was going to work was with webs, so That's indeed what I'm rocking on this Pokemon. I got Sticky Web, I got Liquidation, Toxic, and Leech Life. Leech Life is for, I believe, like, Decidueye, because it will take a decent chunk. Literally for things that resist Liquidation. But Liquidation hits the team reasonably hard. Lando-T, Steelix, Salazzle, Heracross, they don't appreciate it. And what was I gonna say? I also have enough bulk to potentially take, I think it's like a Specs Thunderbolt. I forget what it is, but like I can take any special electric move from Koko, and as long as it's not Z Wild Charge, I literally destroy something with Z. But actually, wait, no, I'm not Miracle. I thought about Miracle for that reason, but my mindset was I wanted webs up. So if he leads Koko, I get him up, and if he's not default, that's fantastic. Long story short. Next we have Z Kartana. Originally this was Scarf, and then I realized that it just gives Mega Heracross more leeway, and I did not want that, so I decided to go Z-Move because Aerial Ace destroys Heracross after rocks. It actually doesn't guarantee Oko, which is real sad considering I'm base 181 attack. But if I get an SD up and webs are up, I win. Like, straight up I win. Like, I don't see me stopping. I don't see me losing if that ever happens. Only way is if he's like defensive Lando-T, because it actually eats hits. It's insane. Even after an SD, it just takes it takes Leaf Blade so well. And like, I do expect HP Fire defensive Lando-T. That just makes the most sense personally. I thought defensive Lando-T would be great for my Kartana, for my Mudsdale. I had other Pokemon. Medicham, like, if Medicham ever clicked that jump kick and he was like, if he was Rocky Helmet, that would be really bad. And just in general, like, Mimikyu stops. Like, Lander-C obviously can just U-turn, break the sub, and then, like, it goes from there. Like, defensive Lando-T just had so much good potential against my team, and that's what I thought was coming. And this was the best way of stopping it, because Scarf Kartana doesn't do anything to Lando-T, and if he's Rocky Helmet, I just take unnecessary chip, and I don't want that. So, in the end of the day, this was the set we went with. Not to mention Grass Z, if it doesn't resist, is going to kill something. And I do like that, like, having that new button, like, unless Heracross switches in, which would be a real sad, like, real Pepe sad moment, I'd be fine. And then the last is this. I'm not missing a move, it's really all I need. Yeah, his whole team just gets destroyed by this. Like, Spadef, I think Hunter showed me the calc. Spadef's Steelix takes like 45 from Boom Burst, so, like, this wasn't really a problem. I used the set to go with. I ran max special attack because I needed as much power as possible. I wasn't going to mess with numbers. Enough speed to outspeed his fastest Mon. That's not Tapu Koko, because I can't outspeed that after webs. So that wasn't really a variable. I forgot what this outspeed, so I outspeed Keldeo, I think. Probably. I'm not too sure. That would make sense. Even though these numbers don't add up to outspeeding Keldeo, I think that's what that was for. But either way, that's the end of that. I'm going to now hop into the game, so I'm gonna pause and I'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back. And as you can see, he has the team there. I have the team here. As you can see, he brought the Koko, he brought the Lando-T, Heracross, Necrozma, Keldeo and Steelix. He didn't bring the Kyurem, he didn't bring the Dusclops, didn't bring the Decidueye. I thought he was going to, because like literally a couple days before I was talking trash about it and he said it was good. So I sort of expected it for the Spite, but he didn't bring it, which is kind of cool. And he had, I think there was one more mod he could have brought. I don't remember what it was. Kyurem? Did I mention Kyurem? I probably did. Whatever. It doesn't matter. These are the 6 he brought, and I expect like potential Scarf Keldeo. That just makes a lot of sense for Kartana, if I'm not Scarf. Also good for Volcarona. If you run Stone Edge, it just destroys me if I'm not Charty Berry. Koko is a wild card. Lando-T, I expect defensive. Heracross is just wall breaking. Necrozma, I'm not too sure. Like, Steelix as a rocker led me to believe that this could easily be like a setup come mindset, but like that just. All right, we are back. Okay, sorry about the interruption. Hopefully that wasn't too much. Where was I at? Yeah, I think I gave my brief breakdown of what I thought he brought. So I'm just gonna lead with the Mudsdale because it's meant to take anything, realistically speaking. I'm just kidding. I lead with this because if he leads Steelix, I taunt it, and that's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Same with Necrozma. That's also why I had taunt Necrozma. Let me think. So I didn't think he would click Dazzling Gleam turn 1 if he had it. So I'm just clicking Raw Dark Pulse here, like just to scout what he wants to go for, as he clicks screens, which is interesting for a multitude of reasons because obviously I can now suspect that this is a screen setup squad, which is interesting because that's kind of what my team is based off. So you can kind of conclude that it's like SD Heracross and, you know, setup Krozma, but I'm still with the idea that it's not setup Landers-T because I just felt like defensive was the best thing to go with overall. So I can sort of believe that this can't touch my Mudsdale, so I'm going to go straight into it, get up my rocks, I believe, yeah. And now I'm going to go into the Araquanid as he goes hard into the Heracross. So this is a bit of an awkward situation because I do die to Rock Blast if he has it. So I'm going to go right back into this. If he clicks Rock Blast, I'm going to go to like +5 defense, but he makes the smart play and clicks Sub because I don't think Liquidation broke the Sub. Yeah, it didn't. I know it didn't. As he goes for the Earthquake and he does a lot. And he's going to go for another one. I'm not sure what this roll is, but like, just doing the numbers in my head, if the first one at 58 and I'm now at +1.5, well times 1.5, I shouldn't die. And I live on 1. Like I said, I don't know what the roll was on that. I didn't think it was at the time, but it probably was. But I'm just going to rest, get the Chesto Berry going, and I'm now at +2 defense, which is really cool. So, now he goes for another close combat, and that does 29, so I'm now eating these things up like it's my damn job. And at first, he was talking about this in the chat. I'm trying not to talk about it because I kind of want to move on from that. But originally, this was like a different set that would 6-0 me right here on the spot. But he had a matchup. No, he had a mock with Zern, and then he changed up his team. So now this isn't the original set, and therefore it doesn't go the way it could have, where I just lost. Instead, my Mudsdale's here, and it breaks the Sub. And I'm not going to predict the switch until Landers-T, as he actually goes Keldeo. I could have gotten a big Earthquake off, but Toxic is fine. I don't really mind that too much. I'm just going to go right back into the Araquanid. If he ever clicks a move like he does here, I can just get my webs up for absolutely free. And like if he goes Koko, I don't die to anything because of the Wakanberry. And I also get to avoid screens potentially. He actually clicked Defog here, which is bad. Like I knew he was going to bring Defog on something for my Klefki, because Klefki was screened for the big boy threat for his team. Especially since he's trying to combat my screens with his screens. I would assume that was his mindset going into the game. It makes sense for Defog to be on his side, therefore, for the reason that he would have screens on his side and he could just overpower me by raw bulk and power. So he defogs my webs and my rocks, which is, you know, not the best, but I do fire off a pretty powerful liquidation as I do 50. So I'm going to assume this one doesn't kill, but realistically, I gotta keep clicking with liquidation on what's in front of me, because if the Keldeo comes in, it's toxic, and it's still going to be taking a decent amount from liquidation, and it doesn't touch me either. And like I said, if the Keldeo Scarf, it's its own liability. If it ever takes anything out, or if I just take advantage of what it clicks, like let's say it clicks HP Electric, with Electric Terrain, I can just go into Volcarona and just go to +1, and then he would be in a pretty terrible spot, I would say. So. That's what I was thinking in my head, but I kill with liquidation, which is like a big question mark. So I guess the liquidation was just an interesting roll. I must have gotten like a low roll on the first one, then I got like a decent roll on the second. So I'm not gonna complain. The Koko's now gone, which means any idea of screens after these go away are now gone, which is good because once screens go away, then it makes my offensive attacks just that much more powerful and potent against his team. As now this thing comes back in, and like I don't really have a efficient way of taking this thing out, because I should talk about this actually. If he was SD, then my Mudsdale was not a counter. He would have been behind a Sub, and I would like lose, because for one, this outspeeds X-Cloud, and webs aren't up yet, so therefore this would outspeed the X-Cloud, so I wouldn't be able to break the Sub with the Boom Burst and kill it outright, which is a big problem because I would lose, right? My Hydreigon can't break the Sub. Volcarona would break it, but then die to Rock Blast or whatever move it has, probably because it's +2 and it's a Mega Heracross. And then the Araquanid doesn't really handle it. It dies to Rock Blast. I think he has it. I think he does. Yeah, he does reveal Rock Blast later on, which means I literally lost. Like, I straight up lost. I get the webs up because I need him up for the Keldeo. As he clicks CC, which was interesting because I think he does reveal Rock Blast. So I guess he was just trying to predict my Mudsdale coming in and get the +5 boost. As now he's going to go into the Steelix, take nothing because it reflects. And now I'm going back into Mudsdale because I assume he wants rocks. I can't avoid that anymore. I don't have defog on anything, so I'm just going to get my own rocks up now. As they're on both sides, I got to go back into the Araquanid because I can just sack it off. It's not really doing much at this point. And I think he does reveal Rock Blast, yeah. So if he was sub SD Rock Blast close combat like he would have originally been, I lost. I straight up lost. But since Araquanid did get the job of getting the webs up and the Heracross hit the webs, my thing can come in and just claim a kill, which is fantastic. I am a big fan of that. And now all he has remaining left is Lando-T, which I assume to be defensive, which means Hydreigon stops that. Keldeo hits the webs, and if it ever clicks Secret Sword, and well, it's gonna find out. I'm gonna find out right now if it's Scarf. And if it's Scarf, then I can just go from there. If he goes into Necrozma, it just takes a lot. Steelix takes a lot. It probably dies actually from the range. No, it doesn't. It was specially defensive invested. He did show me the spread afterwards. So he's in a predicament, is what I'm trying to tell you. As he goes hard Keldeo, so I get to confirm right now if this is Scarf. And as you're going to see, it actually is. And he clicks Hydro Pump. And this is a really intelligent play on Max. Well, it's the play you should make if you're competent. And let me explain. Volcarona wins if he clicks Secret Sword. Simple as that. Like, I think, like, even though I take 50% from Rock, Secret Sword is not doing a lot. And with webs up, I am able to get the Quiver Dance, and Necrozma is probably in range. And I would assume it was actually special Necrozma, which means it doesn't actually kill me with Photon Geyser, or any other coverage I might have, even if it was Power Gem, because of the Charty Berry and the +1 boost. And Lander's T just dies. Like, it just straight up dies at +1 to Fire Blast. So, like, I'm looking really good if you click Secret Sword, but he understands that. He clicks Hydro Pump, and I'm going to live this because I'm an X-Blood. I have natural good bulk. Not to mention I had EVs in my HP, and no, just my HP. I didn't have any def investment, but I did have HP, so I lived this comfortably no matter what. So that means the Keldeo is going to go down to Boom Burst, and he's going to be down to his Landorus T, Necrozma, and Steelix. Steelix, which presumably gets walled by my Hydreigon. Landorus T, which presumably gets walled by my Hydreigon if it's defensive, and Necrozma, which gets walled by Hydreigon. So it's looking like it's a clean and easy 4-0 win at this moment in time. As he's going to go into Landorus T, I don't really have a reason to keep this Pokemon around. I'm just going to let it die to the Landorus T. I don't really have a great way of, like, stopping this thing, so I'm not going to go into my Hydreigon. I'm just going to fire off a Dark Pulse as he goes into the Steelix, and I'm just going to fire off a Dark Pulse. And I thought about taunting for, like, potential Toxic, but I just, for one, I felt like the Dark Pulse might have been a roll, so I'm just going to go for it. He actually gets the Iapapa Berry, which was unfortunate, but he actually just reveals Explosion and just kills himself. And does 41 to me, which is, like, hilarious. So the defense investment has proven me fantastic, because I'm now in a pretty decent chunk of HP. So now it's just down to Landorus T, Necrozma, and this is going to confirm right now. This is definitely not defensive Landorus T, and that's the problem, because I really, really thought this was defensive for my Kartana, and as a result, that's really, really bad, because now I am potentially in a losing position, since Landorus T, once it, like, if it has Flying Z, will destroy my Hydreigon, and it can just do a decent chunk to me against Kartana. And, well, I was thinking Kartana might be able to wall this if it's like Fly, Earthquake, SD, Rock Polish, but as you're going to see, he is actually Superpower, and after Rocks, Kartana dies to Superpower. So this is bad, and now this is when it gets really, really tricky and questionable. Like, let me explain. So, Earthquake kills Volcarona, and, like, Superpower is going to kill my Kartana. Like, I can't switch into it. And so, therefore, I have one way of winning, and one way of winning only. It's to land a Toxic on this Landorus T, let Mudsdale die to the Earthquake, then let Volcarona come in, and it dies to Earthquake. And at that point, Landorus T is dead to Toxic, and then it would be down to a one-on-one against Kartana and Necrozma. If Necrozma is only max HP, it dies to Z Leaf Blade. But if it's defensive and has any sort of fire coverage, I'm dead. So it really comes down to a tricky, like, it just comes down to a tricky set of what he brought and how he's going to choose to play this. So luckily Toxic lands. If I missed, then it was a 2-0. It was a 2-0 win on Max's part. So Earthquake is just going to land. He goes down to 14. Luckily, he's going to die next turn, so Volcarona is just going to die for the greater good. It could have easily won, but it just ends up dying immediately to the Landorus T. So here it is, the turn of the game. Literally, like, this just determines if I win 1-0, if I lose 1-0. Like, I was in a commanding spot if I had, like, if my Hydreigon was faster, then I was looking really good. Because, like, I would taunt the Landorus T there. But, actually, no, I thought was never to play. And luckily, I didn't click taunt. But, yeah, no, I don't think it was. Like, even though Mudsdale could, like, beat her and stop it, it wouldn't really do much. Either way, it's down to this situation. Like, looking back at the game, I really wish I had Roar on my Mudsdale, because obviously I could just Roar to Landorus T. it would be set down to neutral, and then I can go from there. Like, I could actually do stuff with my Volcarona, I could do stuff with my Kartana without having to force the situation. Or I can actually just, like, keep roaring with the Mudsail until the Necrozma just kills me off or something. Like, I could have easily done that, but instead I'm in this situation, and it's just not, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. It ain't litty. So, like I said, it just comes down to Z-Leaf Blade. Killing, I'm not going to let you guys wait any longer. We both take rocks. He takes webs. It doesn't matter. I fire it off. And Z Bloom Doom kills, and we win 1-0. I can't express to you how stressful that ending was. Like, I really thought I was in the driver's seat once it was just down to his 3 remaining Pokemon. But he brought a offensive Lando-T, and with screens, that makes a lot of sense. I can't really disagree with the idea. It was actually incredibly smart now that I think about it. And I'll keep that in mind next time we play. Like, it's just something there. Like, it's unfortunate that the Lando-T actually got walled by Araquanid, but it's fair. Like, Araquanid gets chipped down pretty easily throughout the game, so I can't be mad. It was a great game. Max was overall reasonably salty for a multitude of reasons that ultimately had nothing to do with me or the situation of the game in terms of RNG. It was just really mental block in terms of the prep with Zern and himself ultimately, which is unfortunate. It's happened to all of us, including me. We all have those sets where it's like, man, if I brought a different set, which I was toying with, then the situation would have been a lot more positive. But, you know, Max ended up taking the L as a result for his own blunder, which I can't be mad about. And plus, Max is like an amazing battler. He's gonna bounce. He's gonna bounce like a bouncy ball off the wall. He's gonna be just fine. Like, I have no doubt about it. Even though he does play King, the man, the myth, the legend, our boy, he still is looking pretty strong. Even though he's definitely in the toughest division with me, King, and Matt. But nonetheless, GG to Max. I hate to give you losses, man. It's actually like, it pains me to have to play you, because for one, I pull for you every time you play. Like, even against King, I'm slightly pulling for you. Like, I won't be mad if you win at all. Like, I want you to win games. And like, the fact that I have to be the roadblock to give you a loss is just like heart-wrenching. Like, there's really no other way to put it. But we do win 1-0. We win our first week. I think we won our first week last season too. So we're keeping the trend up, which is fantastic. And we're going to try to continue it against Matt for week 2. He has a pretty interesting team. He has Mega King. It's nowhere near as broken as it once was, so really not mad about prepping for that. He also has a Clefable, which is right up Max's alley. I mean, Matt's alley. He also has a Gengar. He has a Abomasnow, like a bunch of Matt mons that he can ultimately utilize properly, and I'm kind of worried about that. So there's not much more to say. That's the end of the video. Just stick around for more uploads in the future. I got the Nuzlocke going, obviously, if you guys are watching that. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. I highly recommend you do. If you don't want to, it's fine. It's your own free will. So, yeah, that's all for me. And I'll be seeing you all in my next video. So, au revoir. Peace.